he was really, it's cool. It was
impressive.
It was good to see Jacob Katz back doing what he can do, and I mean,
can he win off 91?
The thing is, he's in the form of his life. William Knight horses are going absolutely well. As we know, William Knight even said that for these owners particularly, they like to have runners and winners on that day at Kempton. So he did it. He got it done with Jacob Katz. The way that he sort of pulled away from the field, that was over 1.3 miles. Not really concerned about him stepping up to 1.5 miles. He's a big unit of a horse. Carrying the penalty, I don't even think he'd really notice there was extra weight on his back. It is just whether or not he can turn around in 4 days. He has won back-to-back races twice in his career, a 9-win career, but they've been off slightly longer breaks. They tend to be off 1.5 weeks, 2 weeks. And I do like that SDS stays on because he's a perfect 2 out of 2.
Big story, that,
on the horse. And William Knight said that the key to Jacob's Katz now is smaller fields, because he has to come through rivals, but when there's smaller fields, he doesn't care about the pace. There's just less trouble in running with the smaller fields. So this race has worked out perfectly for him, for Jacob Katz. It's just if he really wants to put in the effort again.
Okay, that's Dream Love, isn't it? You can see leading her all the way out. It'll be interesting to see how she behaves now with 2 helping her out towards the start. There we go. She'll be fine now on a nice long rein, and away she goes. Right, let's touch on some of the others. Prior's Brook. I actually backed at Southall the other day, and I was convinced he was going to win. And to be fair, he still ran well behind an in-form horse. How do you view him coming back onto this surface on current form, etc., etc., Ben?
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I mean, he's been kept going over the winter. He's been running well. Again, like you say, last time he gave his running that day. It's just whether he probably needs a little bit more improvement to win from this mark. He's been beaten off 77 on his last 2 starts, albeit, like you say, by an informed rival last time. I mean, he's been quite well supported all day, and you could see it. I mean, especially if Jacob Katz runs below form, he's one of the likely sorts. He arrives here in form at the top of his game. He's fit, we know that, so he's one of the likely sorts that could sort of pick up the pieces, really.
Yeah, I really thought he was going to be a Southall horse, actually. Just the way he goes about it, he looks like he stays quite well.
Strong traveller as well, isn't he? Yeah.
I thought Southall would be perfect for him, but listen, he didn't do anything wrong. He's won over 1.5 miles before. He's in good nick. He's got to be involved, you'd think. What about some of the others? You both quite like Sergeant Reckless. He's 20 to 1.
I know.
I mean, I'd like double the price he was earlier.
Yeah, I'd like to see him a bit shorter, because the trainer did mention in the Racing Post that perhaps he's going to come on for this run. But as Rachel was saying earlier, it's 3 from 3 on the all-weathers. 20 to 1, 3 from 3 on the all-weather doesn't quite add up, does it?
I have best odds guaranteed. Crack on with this.
Yeah,
I'm good.
I'd like a bit more support behind him, but I think that he was a classy jumps horse, wasn't he? And
yes,
like
third in a Group 1, Grade 1 behind Faheen of all horses back in the day, and Justice Hill at Aintree.
He's always been a horse that connections have definitely thought he could have probably been a decent flat horse as well. Whether that time is gone, he's now a 10-year-old, we don't know, and whether he's going to need this run is another thing, and by the looks of the market, maybe he will. But in an open race, as we've already alluded to, Prior's Brook is perhaps not the most well handicapped horse in the world, and Jacob Katz has got a quick turnaround. It wouldn't be the biggest surprise, and I think 20 to 1 could look very big, couldn't it? Sergeant Rex, he's obviously won here an all-weather bumper, but the way he went through that race, he absolutely tanked for it. I know those races can often be rubbish as far as form goes, but at the same time he won it really well, took to the surface well, clearly loves the artificial surfaces, so he's definitely an interesting runner.
Marmaduke Bay is fairly prominent in the market at 7 to 2, and I think will be prominent in the race itself tactically. Does he look the sort of horse that is just solid and should run his race, Reg?
I definitely think so. I mean, he's relatively unexposed with only 9 runs. 3 of those have been wins, including when he won over course and distance. at the end of last season, and the third horse, Azera, has come back out and won 3 times since for Mark Johnston. So I mean that form is working out as it is, given a lot of horses stopped over the winter. He's dropping in grade slightly for the return off a 5.5-month layoff, which I do like. And the one slight worry is he appeared to need a run last year in a seasonal reappearance, although that was in a maiden, and I think the smaller field today might suit. He does like to go forward, like you said. He's in stall 1, which should really suit him. He definitely gets a 1.5 miles, unlike some of these, which I'm not totally convinced they want the full 12 furlongs. I mean, if you're Stevie Drown, point shoot and hold on to the right rein so you go the right way around. I mean, this looks a simple job for me for Marmaduke Bay.
Yeah, the one slight concern I have about Marmaduke Bay is that when he won last time, he was in that the forms worked out quite well, but I just think that he did look as though he was just getting away with a 1.5 miles that day, and maybe further trips would bring out more improvement from him. It might be that he's just good enough, and he's really likeable, isn't he? He gives his running a lot.
Yeah.
It might just be that he's good enough to overcome it again, but he's up in the weights. I would prefer to see him over a bit further if I was going to back him. But again, this is pretty open, and we know he likes Kempton, and he's, like you say, he's still improving essentially.
Yeah.
So it'd be no surprise to see him run well. But at 7-2, I'd rather leave him alone and wait until he tackles a bit further again. To be honest.
Yeah. Lansur in cajoled backwards into his stall, and Dream Love. It's interesting that he sort of automatically started her over 1.5 miles. You know, usually trainers for handicapping purposes, apart from anything else, you tend to stay down.
I don't think she was expected to win over 1.5 miles either, was she? She was
50 to 1.
50 to 1 that day, but she showed that wasn't a fluke. She ran okay at Lingfield next time out. I mean, it's probably slightly built on that really. That first run has worked out well. There was winners around her. I don't think that was, you know, despite the price, it definitely wasn't a fluke. And she's the unexposed one, isn't she? She's 2 starts to her name, and yeah, she's entitled to go well. But again, she's on the adrift as well by the looks of it.
So, assembling down at the start, 2 to 1 about Jacob Katz. Prize Brook is 3 to 1. Marmaduke Bay. I wonder if he'll get out under Steve Brown from 1. There's alternative pace from 7 with Pinwood, who tends to make the running. That one's available at 12 to 1. Lansur and Jacob Katz generally held up. Sergeant Reckless will go into stall 5. Back on the flat.
Yeah, I thought Pinwood is definitely worth giving another chance to as well. Didn't seem to take to Southall last time, and you can forgive any horse a poor run on that surface. And prior to that, he'd been running really well. He'd won at Lingfield, and then made the places at Chelmsford and Lingfield again. He's come back a better horse in 2017 off a break, and depending on how hard they ride Marmaduke Bay, he could get a fairly easy lead here, I thought.
Yeah, and both he and Marmaduke Bay sort of want perhaps more of a test than this.
Yeah, so then you'd expect them to try and, you know, make it one up front.
Let's see, we're waiting for Dream Love. She's been given a little bit of problems on the way to post. Let's see how she gets on.
Dream Love to come in then, stall number 6. That's it, we're set to go. They're off. Jacob Katz, half asleep in the stalls here, but a long way ahead of them. 1.5 miles is the distance for this 32 red handicap. Marmaduke Bay on the rail, away well to lead from Pinwood, and then Prior's Brook. Pinwood going right up on the outside to dispute it now with Marmaduke Bay, and all of a sudden the two of them, to a certain degree, set each other alight as they head to the first bend now. Prior's Brook is in 3rd. Lansur back in 4th place, and then comes Dream Love. Sergeant Reckless ahead of Jacob Katz, the back marker. They race by us now, and Marmaduke Bay has allowed Pinwood to stride on under Jordan Ace. The pace, as soon as he hit the front, clearly just steadied up round that bend. So Pinwood now the leader, and he has gone off 3 lengths clear. Marmaduke Bay is in 2nd place. The gap grows to about 4.5 to 5 lengths now. So Pinwood clear of Marmaduke Bay. Prize Brook is in 3rd, followed by Lansur. Dream Love in 5th place. Sergeant Reckless still just ahead of Jacob Katz. Jacob Katz must be 15 lengths off the leader. Pinwood gone clear then by 6 or 7. Under Jordan Ace down the far side of the track. Pinwood with a big advantage. Marmaduke Bay in 2nd place. In 3rd comes Brook. Brook attended by Lanceur. And then Dream Love. Jacob Katz just moves ahead now of Sergeant Reckless as the runners make their way to the end of the back straight. Pinwood still with a very decent advantage of 6 to 7 lengths over a nudged along Marmaduke Bay. Brook comes next. Dream Love races on the outside of Lanceur, and then Jacob Katz together still with Sergeant Reckless at the back of the field, and now they race for the home straight. Just over 3 furlongs left to go. Pinwood still 5 lengths clear. Marmaduke Bay 2nd, and Brook travelling strongly in 3rd, about to go 2nd. Marmaduke Bay still shuffled along. Then we've got Lanceur sticking to the rail. On the outside, we'll watch for the red colours of Dream Love, the pink sleeves and cap of Jacob Katz, who is now going to have to really pick up to land this race. And still Pinwood tries to cling on, but they're slowly getting there now. Marmaduke Bay now down the outside. Jacob Katz is getting into full steam ahead mode for Silvestre de Souza. Marmaduke Bay, Jacob Katz is going to go close here on the outside. Very tight finish. Jacob Katz galloped to win it from Marmaduke Bay. And between the two of them, Sergeant Reckless, it was a late call, but Silvestre de Souza remains unbeaten on Jacob Katz.
3 rides, 3 wins now for SDS on JC. And top weight defied, career high mark dealt with, but only just. Marmaduke Bay has been heroic out in front off his layoff, and you'd say the same about Sergeant Reckless, who has come from the back of the field in the pink cap, apparently not completely fully tuned up, and at the age of 10 he has run an absolute belter to suggest that there are races to be won with him on the all-weather. Pinwood went loose, Ben, and the pack didn't consent to follow.
Yeah, they seemed to just ignore the leader, didn't they? And all of a sudden they were all under a drive, and you realise that it was nearing the end of the race. I know they say that you ride them to sleep, but I was sort of lost concentration completely and didn't realise that it was near the end, to be honest. But yeah, Sergeant Reckless was for me, I thought he ran really, really well. He's had it all to do. He's right at the back. I know the winners come from there as well. So the winners arguably done really well to come down the outside. But considering the profile of Sergeant Reckless, obviously lost his way, and he is a 10-year-old now. I think this is really a really encouraging performance, definitely.
De Souza never really panicked, even at that moment where they just started to quicken in the home straight. He wasn't sort of motivated immediately to go from sort of 1st to 5th gear.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was a brilliant. This showed a good jockey's head on his shoulders, because 4 days ago it was over 1 mile and 3. So at the same point in the race, there's 1 less furlong to run, and he just knew, I have to sit that little bit longer. I have to wait that little bit longer, and he did, and he timed it again to perfection on Jacob's Katz. I mean, they just get along really well. And the nice, he swung him to the outside, so there was no danger. And maybe because he was aware that some of the other horses, like Brook, who were coming up on his outside or on his inside, get the 12 furlongs just as well as him. But I mean, it's great to see him come back, and more important, I mean, I know it was 3rd, which really does scupper all of your each-way plays when you have 7 runners, but Sergeant Reckless coming back, I mean, that's just, I can't wait where they take him next. I mean, Hodgson said potentially Bath on Good Friday, maybe on obviously he wants good ground, and normally Bath you get very good ground.
Win then for Silvestre de Souza once again on Jacob Katz is another one for Informed William Knight. Marmaduke Bay ran a cracker in